Last time on Love at First Shot.
So this is my idea of the ultimate girls' day out. Oh, we got a winner! If I have to explain it to people who don't really understand, I'm like, well, basically it's kind of like an obstacle course where we're, running through and shooting through walls and barrels and windows. It's so cool! When that buzzer goes, it's like you're a different person.
Today's episode of 27 Words is about our God-given right to self-defense.
A concealed carry firearm is one that you need to be able to use under pressure. So another C of concealed carry is controls.
We get a little personal in this episode of Love at First Shot. I had the opportunity to talk to Melody Lauer. She's an NRA certified instructor and a mom who's appeared on the show The Doctors to talk about packing heat while pregnant. Plus, you'll meet Julie Golob's daughter, Madeleine. And there's no surprise here that she is a chip off the old shooting block. And you'll hear more from all of the women during our roundtable. We're all about family in this episode of Love at First Shot, presented by Smith & Wesson and with ammunition provided by Federal Premium.
Of course, one of the critical components of concealed carry is how easy it is for you to conceal your firearm. And this is why a lot of women opt for purse carry. They can carry a larger size gun much more easily. And the larger the gun, the easier it is to shoot. I'm going to show you my two choices for concealed carry. This is my personal Smith & Wesson M&P Shield, and it's my go-to carry gun. I like it because it's slim, it's lightweight, and it's relatively easy to conceal. It also has a good capacity, so I'm really happy with it, and I shoot it well. But there are times when I have a hard time concealing this firearm. That's when I go with something smaller, like this Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380. And what I really like about it is how thin it is. And you can see the comparison right here. It's a lot easier to conceal this gun. It's also a smaller caliber, which means it's a little bit more challenging to pack that powerful punch with the ammunition that you're looking for. There are compromises involved no matter what. What's really ideal about this particular gun is I can wear it on the ankle, I can put it in a pocket, I can slip it in my waist, and it's a lot easier to conceal. At the end of the day, though, it's all a customized process. Keep in mind, you may have to change your wardrobe, how you carry, and where you carry in order to conceal properly.
Stay tuned for the next episode of Love at First Shot, when Julie will address the 6th C of concealed carry, consistency.
There is so much misinformation and flat-out lies out there about the different arms we should be able to keep. And it doesn't help that the liberal politicians and the mainstream media are willing to fan the flames. I'm Lydia Longoria, and today's episode of 27 Words is about my favorite topic, guns. To keep and bear arms seems pretty straightforward, and you'll notice it doesn't include any qualifiers. If you look at the common law meaning of arms at the time, it doesn't sequester itself. It means any arms that we can legally obtain that can be used in self-defense. But there are so many big, scary words thrown out there to describe what are actually simple, common guns. Words like assault weapon, automatic rifle, military grade, zombie chainsaw modification. What the heck do these mean? Rest assured, many of today's firearms are semi-automatic pistols and rifles, and the same ones women like you and me choose for our protection. But unfortunately, many anti-gun politicians want to pry these firearms from our hands. And they're doing so by labeling what are common guns as assault weapons. But if you ask 10 different anti-gunners to define assault weapon, you'll get 10 different responses. That's because there's no definition. It's a made-up term used to incite fear in people who are unfamiliar with firearms. Many responses will include the AR-15, and they'll claim that AR stands for assault rifle. really. It actually stands for Armalite, the company that developed the AR-15 platform. Another argument we see is that the authors of the Constitution couldn't imagine these assault-style weapons that individuals could own, which simply isn't true. In the founding era, the modernization of firearms was rapidly occurring, even more so than today. So when someone tries to come up to you and invalidate the Second Amendment because of the modernization of firearms technology, just say that's the equivalent to saying the First Amendment is no longer available or relevant because of the invention of the internet or of computers. It's as simple as that.
The Oklahoma City Gun Club in Arcadia, Oklahoma, having a great time shooting.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it would be kind of a good thing to talk about not only shooting itself, but what we bring to the range with us as well.
Oh,
so
yes.
Let's bring out our range bags and have a little bit of show and tell, shall we, ladies? You know, the obvious things that you need, your magazines, any belts, what all do you have that's kind of unique maybe that normally people wouldn't have?
Outside of the normal, in this front pocket, I typically keep a couple of items such as cell phone. You never know when you might need that. Sunscreen. I've got baby wipes, wet ones for the Porta-Johns.
Let's be honest, they're not always well stocked.
In biathlon, we compete in a lot of different crazy weather situations, so I always make sure that I bring extra clothing with me. And just in case you need to, you know, storm comes in, you get wet, good idea to change afterwards, things like that. But another really big important thing for me is hydration and making sure all ranges are really hot and dusty oftentimes, so hydrate. What I love about a pack like this is I can fill up a reservoir and then use this to wash my hands afterwards, or if I, you know, get something really dirty or dusty, I can wash it off a little bit and wipe it down.
How about you?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I have so many fun things. I think a lot of the stuff in my range bag were things that like experiences taught me I needed,
Yes.
right? So something as simple as like you're somewhere and it's muddy. Get yourself a towel. You know, you want something that can be, that you can wipe your mags off with. Found one of these cool little guys for your eye pro that always gets smudgy. One of my favorite things, I always have a snack. Because you're out there for a long day, you need a protein bar, a snack, of course, sunscreen, like the basics, the things like that. My big thing that I can't live without is my little mini kind of toolkit. I've got this thing.
Look at that!
I love this thing. I got this from Ben Sager Pro Shop, and I swear to God, this thing is awesome because you can just pull out anything you would ever need to fix your gun. This thing is ready to go. And
wait, I gotta know. How many guys have asked to borrow that?
So many, and I hunt them down afterwards. I come back and I'm like, hey, you got that?
You need your name on it.
Yeah, like, I know you're gonna try to steal this.
Something that I bring, a little cleaning kit about this size that has everything in it, just in case I need to wipe something down. I'm curious if you guys have one of these too. Big garbage bag.
Yes, definitely.
I have used these as ponchos. I've used them to cover up my bag when it's super muddy. I've put muddy shoes in them. I even have it on a list. Like, make sure you need to replace the garbage bag. And then because I do a lot of camera work when I shoot, I actually have a little pocket here that has many tripods and my sunscreen and my cameras. I find that like range bags are like purses. Yes. That, you know, they're so difficult to set up exactly the way you want them. So I'm curious if there's something that you like to see in a range bag itself, or if you have a little bit of organization that you feel is important.
One of the biggest things that I've found for me, though, too, is just to remember an additional range bag for your handgun. And this is the big thing is, in 3-gun, you just need one bag. You can put all of them in one bag. But a big thing for safe areas is that you're not supposed to have ammunition with the firearms unless you're on the firing line.
So convenient, too, especially if you have to use the bathroom. You don't have to schlep everything over. You can just take care of business.
For me, besides the obvious, color is a big thing. When you notice that a lot of the range bags are black and guns are black and things like that, so I color my guns, I color my bags, just so that they're easy to pick out. If I need to run and grab something real quick, I can spot my bag from anywhere and things like that.
How about you? Any other quick tips that you can?
Yeah, I think it just depends on what the occasion is. Like if you're gonna go just maybe, you know, do some skeet or trap with friends, or you're gonna go hunting, you'll maybe grab a different bag than if you're, you know, gonna do, like with us, if we're going to matches. I like something that is easy for me to pick up and carry and schlep around all day. So I think you have to find the right bag by the right occasion. Like you said, something that you're not gonna put too much in, but the essentials and things you know that you'll need.
So this was a lot of fun, and I think our viewers here will enjoy seeing how we kind of pack and the little things that we put in our range bags to make our range time experience more successful. If you have something that you put in your range bag that you'd like to share with us, please tag us, and we'd love to see you on the next Love It First Shot.
So I'm here with Melody Lauer, and I am so excited to have her with us today. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So Melody owns a company called Citizens Defense Research, and she also is currently teaching a class that I think all of us as parents, and especially me as a prego, about to be a parent for the second time around, I'm very excited about it too. It's called the Armed Parent/Guardian. So let's talk about that and why you got into it to begin with.
So I've been an instructor for 10 years, but my oldest is 8. And I remember bringing him home from the hospital and us having guns everywhere in the house and being like, wow, there aren't a whole lot of resources out there. Like, I'm unprepared for this.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I was already a firearms instructor, so I already really had a good basis for what is good handling and what isn't. And so I started kind of making those changes. And I really didn't think of it from a larger perspective of, hey, there are other people out there who don't have this information.
Right.
And it was kind of one of those things where I was kind of always waiting for someone else to do it. But then a couple of years ago, I decided that now was the time to really start making that information more available to parents. How do we do this safely?
Obviously, if you're going to be carrying a child, small fingers are going to be around you. You don't want any of those tiny little fingers to get even near inside the trigger guard.
So when you started baby wearing and carrying, you got a lot of media attention.
I did. Actually, the range had just opened, and they were having some media present there, and they were really interested in that particular class, and so they did an entire segment on the class, and it got national attention.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting it, but it was great because it started a conversation that previously had not been had.
Right.
Like, hey, these women, these mothers do have guns and they are choosing guns. How do we do this safely instead of just telling them not to have them?
You actually got so much media attention that the folks over at Paramount Studios called you, and you were a guest on the TV show The Doctors.
Yes, and I knew it was probably going to be a hostile environment, but I didn't care. I really thought it needed to be talked about.
Probably more likely to cause harm to yourself or your baby than if you had nothing at all, or maybe some mace.
Are you in a danger zone?
She's not afraid. She has a Glot. What is there to be afraid of?
I mean, you carry lots of money and you're worried somebody's going to rob you? Or?
The whole idea of every mother or father carrying a baby and also packing heat is very disturbing to me.
This isn't a political issue. This is about allowing people who've chosen guns for themselves to have the information, the training that saves lives ultimately, because they're being safe.
Security is your personal responsibility. And having been a victim of violent crime myself, I know that you can't rely on someone else to save you.
Hats off to you, and cheers for doing that. And high five for that.
Awesome.
I'd really like to roll right into talking about how to carry when you are pregnant, because it is tricky, and obviously you're changing a lot. Your body is changing a lot.
First of all, I am very adamant that because you're going through a lot of emotional changes as well, and pregnancy brain is such a thing for some people.
It is real.
Where you get forgetful and you get distracted.
Yeah.
And if you are ever feeling like you cannot have the conscious effort to be safe and carry a firearm, it is okay to put your firearms away.
For me personally, it's been a very good choice.
In the first trimester, even though there are a lot of changes going on, some people, not all, but some people don't have a ton of bodily changes just yet.
True.
And they can continue to carry just as they normally did. It didn't get until the 3rd trimester where I was like, okay, this is just not working anymore. And I needed the pregnancy pants with the big panel that comes up and stuff. And then I would start to change my carry to either a shoulder holster. I did a shoulder holster for at least for my daughter. Also, they have things like the flashbang, which is a bra holster, which is right up here. So as your belly kind of is growing, you have it above the belly quite a bit, which is nice. And then they have another version, it's called the Madeleine, which tucks. It's kind of a hybrid between a bra holster and a shoulder holster because it's attached to the bra.
And that's my personal favorite.
Yeah.
I find it to be the most comfortable for me, personally.
A general rule is that the deeper the concealment, the less accessible the firearm is going to be. So you have to keep that in mind. A lot of pregnant women are recommended to carry on their ankle.
Right.
And anyone who's ever been pregnant knows that there comes a point when reaching your ankles is not going to be happening. But then, of course, there's also purse carry. Personally, I think of purse carry as a limited option that is for short periods of time and not around other children. So, like, for instance, you have one in the oven, but you have another child as well.
You know, he's 2, and he's busy, and he is into everything. I keep my guns completely away from him in every scenario.
Exactly.
So there's just so much to carrying while you're pregnant, and I really appreciate you thinking through all of this with me.
Absolutely, and I'm honored to be asked, and thank you so much. But you can find me at citizensdefenseresearch.com or even just melodylauer.com as well, and also on Facebook, both at Citizens Defense Research and Melody Lauer.
Definitely check out all of those links to find out more about her classes and all the research that she's done on this topic.
Choosing a firearm for home protection can be a tough choice. Many people want to go with a larger size firearm to make it easier to shoot, but there's also the dilemma of going with a smaller firearm that you can carry as well. For this Smith & Wesson product spotlight here at Wilshire Gun Club, I have for you the M&P9 M2.0 Compact. It's basically the best of both worlds. First and foremost, the M&P design is a great one, and this particular model is feature-packed. First, it has a texturized grip all the way around to help you have control over the firearm during recoil. It also features 4 different grip sizes that are interchangeable so you can get that perfect fit. An enhanced trigger, an extended steel chassis, and the fact that it has a great ergonomic 18-degree grip make it ideal and make it feel like you're shooting a full-size gun. But as you can see, it's also in a smaller package. It features a 4-inch barrel, and many view this as the perfect ideal size for a firearm that's both great for concealed carry and one that you can use to protect your home. The M&P9 M2.0 Compact really is the best of both worlds.
We're here at Cavern Cove Range just outside Huntsville, Alabama, and I'm with Julie Golob and her lovely daughter, Madeleine. You are in what grade?
4th.
You're in 4th grade, and this is your very first shooting competition.
Yes.
And you're very excited about it.
Yes.
As soon as you walked up, you were just all smiles and really excited to be at the range. So talk about this event. Like, tell me what exactly is going on here. It seems very family friendly, which is really neat and not too unusual, but this is a big one.
Yeah, this is the NSSF's World Rimfire Championships, and it's a kind of a 2-part competition where you shoot both pistol and rifle with all 22 long rifle.
What have you and your mom been doing together to practice for this event?
We've gone out every day possible, and we've lined up steel targets in different orders and have had a stop plate.
You know, one of the first things that we've always worked on, again, is firearm safety. So Madeleine had to know and understand the firearm safety rules. And then we did what? I printed out that
Rule book.
That big, long rule book, which is not as cool as some of the books that you read right now.
What's your favorite part of training with your mom?
Because I like shooting the steel targets and feeling like the rush of excitement when you hit it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
From the mouths of babes. Talk to me about the decision to bring the family, bring your daughter into this.
Well, this is the NSSF World Rimfire Championships, and it probably should be named the World Family Championships because there are so many families that are coming out here to compete. All right, so Madeleine had a very good idea. We thought we would do a good Smith & Wesson cheer.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead, put your hand in. All right, and then we'll say, go Smith & Wesson.
Right.
1, 2, 3. Go Smith & Wesson! All right. This is a great starter because you can get the fundamentals down, but it's in a really warm, encouraging environment at the same time. The very, very first stage, what were you feeling like?
So, 1% nervous to 99% like excited.
Excited, okay.
What do you think about shooting? Do you think it's like a boy thing or a girl thing? What do you think?
I think it's for anyone because it's fun, and if you look at my mom, but other males are really good too.
Madeleine thought she'd tell you how to shoot the stage.
I've been doing this a long time, but I don't know everything, and I always take suggestions.
There you go.
So, come on, girls are great at it. And guys can shoot too, right? High five. Tell me, as a mom, what are you looking forward to? Because you guys are shooting together.
I want to be here strictly for her. And this isn't about me. It isn't about sponsors. It isn't about even the show. It is about me being there for her. I want to make sure that this is as much fun and as exciting as it can be. Was it really complicated to come out here? No, it was pretty easy. All we needed to have was our shooting bag, our eye and our ear protection, right? What else?
Snacks.
Snacks,
Beef
yes.
jerky.
Beef jerky, that's true. It's all about the food with you. We also needed a firearm. On a scale of 1 to 10, how fun is this? 10 being fun, 1 being not fun.
9.
9? 9. Okay.
The waiting.
The waiting. I know, the waiting. But you know what? You also learned how to paint steel targets. Is that pretty cool? Yeah.
This is just a special deal. How are you feeling about it as a mama?
You look at Olympic swimmers or all these great athletes out there, and their children have no interest in the sport that they're in, right? It happens all the time.
Sure.
And so, you know, I wanted this to happen, but I was really, really careful not to ever push it.
So what about your mom makes you interested and excited and inspired?
I see her just like buzz through a course of fire, and I immediately think I want to do that. She's such a good shooter, and she won the world shoot.
That's a really big deal.
I want to shoot a lot.
Really? What makes you say that?
I want to get to the world shoot like Mom did.
So, do you think you'll want to do more of these?
Yes. Do you want to do another competition like this?
Yes, yes. I'm trying to think, it's already the end of the season. I'm trying to think of how we can do this again. You got more claps than I did. They were like, whoa, go Madeleine! Which is really cool. I love how encouraging it is. You didn't hear it? I heard it. That's all that matters. That's for me. Every family situation is different, and I'm curious if you've found at any point in your lives the side of family that isn't as supportive of your beliefs and your feelings about guns or your sport or whatever?
I've been very blessed in the fact that my parents were very supportive of me saying, hey, I want to do the sport at such a young age. And oh, by the way, I need to bring guns into the house. You know, I kept them in my room. They were, I mean, everybody in my family was very safe about it. However, in order for me to be able to do this, I also had to teach my parents how to shoot.
You know, I think most of us here have families who are at least somewhat encouraging. My whole family is, you know, pro all of that. But where I live, there's a lot of people who, they're the first gun owner in their family. And it's funny how people can be pretty neutral, like as long as it's outside of their home. It's a little different when it's in your house. Right. So I've known people who, like, you know, I didn't even know my mom hated guns that much till I got one, you know, and then all of a sudden they're very outspoken and it's caused this, you know, rifts in families.
I had a very dear friend who ended up getting, when we should have known it was going the wrong way, and she got divorced, she was putting a gun safe in there. They live in New Jersey. And was putting a gun, when they were remodeling her house, gun safe in her closet, in her beautiful master closet. And that was the unraveling of that was the start of the unraveling of the marriage, because he was so anti-gun.
Wow. Huh. I find at a certain point, and I've had extended family members say things that are absolutely unspeakable in the social media realm, because, you know, that's what we do these days. Everybody's got to throw their heart down there. And I've had to cut ties. At a certain point, you have to be willing to say, you know what, this person is no longer caring enough about me and my family that it's not going to make either of us better.
Sometimes you just need to let him go, because there is no conversation. And sometimes, you know, you have to just choose the audience. Sometimes not everybody's open for that conversation.
Well, and I feel like we're always on the defensive, right? Like, it's always like I think, learn how to have these conversations kind of more carefully.
We have to take that deep breath every time.
Yeah.
Right. Say, okay.
I had a very interesting conversation, and it was actually a great conversation with a guy that was a client of mine who was a wounded Marine vet, and I don't remember how we got on the topic, but he was like, well, what do you need an AR for? And it was very surprising to hear somebody who had that experience to say that, and I was kind of like, well, what do you need a car that can go 200 miles an hour for? Because I can, right? Like, you know, what do I not need it for? I can take it to a track and go do that. And so, you know, it was kind of interesting to hear but he was able to have that conversation and us have differing opinions without it getting personal or nasty. I explained to him what my draw to was with it, then he was also, okay, that's totally fine. Like, you have your rights and you do that, and that's fine.
Well, so many of those that are angry about guns or angry about hunting, it's an emotional response to something. And so I think you have to figure out a way to kind of diffuse that emotional anger.
I really think it also helps to kind of relate the Second Amendment to something that person's passionate about. Like, you know, empowering women is a major one. For me, the Second Amendment and taking that responsibility of my own safety kind of was that step into womanhood. That was the final step for me, was, you know, graduating, getting my education, and learning how to protect myself.
So, you know, we've talked about some of the hard things with family members that are, you know, it's rough when somebody disagrees or isn't on board with what you do and how you choose to protect yourself. But then there's the sweet bonding that happens between a mother and a daughter. Or a lot of us have father-daughter stories, which are invaluable to us, right? Does anybody want to talk about that? And I mean, my gosh, your story with your parents.
I think it was a different type of bond, just because it was passing knowledge up at a very young age, as opposed to, you know, creating that bond down.
First time I ever shot a gun, I was about 5, I was in kindergarten, and I had a memory of it. But so my father retired in April, and his retirement project, he always videotaped everything, which was super annoying when I was in high school. But I'm so grateful for it now. He had all of these cassette tapes sent off, and they were all digitized. And so a few months ago, my dad sent me the video of the first time I ever shot a gun when I was 5 years old. I was just so enthralled, and then you could see me having, you know, shooting the first time, being a little hesitant. It was so precious to have those memories.
The conversations that I had with my dad driving to and from the range, I can't even imagine. Like, if you had asked me before I started shooting, like, I'm not gonna be talking about this with my dad. You know, but we just did. We just did. We, you know, we bonded in a way that it crossed all of the stereotypes and the fears that even as a parent, I'm wondering how I'm gonna talk about certain things with my daughter, but because we spent so much time together on the range, it's now so much easier.
I personally didn't really get involved or passionate about it, you know, until recently. But my father has always been a hunter. There were always guns in the house, and I want to say he's been a member of Ducks Unlimited for I can't even tell you how many years.
It's a pioneer.
Unlimited years. Yeah, literally. So I joked about that when I was in junior high and high school, is that I would have to charge an admission fee if you came to the house, because you know, you'd get to see all the taxidermy and whatnot. So he's very dedicated and loves it, and you know, he's 79, so you know, he can't hunt anymore because physically he just can't do it. But just recently, especially my involvement in the NRA, my dad is so proud, and it just, I love that he's proud of me for that.
I know, I'm gonna cry too.
I'm sorry. And so now we have things to talk about when it comes to that, and I appreciate that, and I think he even is a little bit sad that he didn't bring me into hunting and guns, because that just wasn't something girls did, as far as my dad was concerned. So, but he's from a much older generation. So I just, that's a memory now that I have in the last couple of years that has literally been very special to me.
I mean, many of us are. We have the daddy's girl moments, and please don't apologize for that, because we can all identify with it. I know, I mean, that's, you know, many people already know that my story, and I got into it just to hang out with my dad. Yeah. Like, the whole objective of learning about guns was my dad. Next time on Love at First Shot.
The more consistently you perform a task, the more comfortable and confident you are doing it. And that is why consistency is another C of concealed carry.
The law upon law and politician after politician do their damnedest to infringe on our right to bear arms in any way possible. And they say it's for our own safety.
At some point in time, you may be interested in flying with firearms, and there's some simple procedures to go through. But first and foremost, you need to do a bit of research to make sure you can actually bring that firearm with you to wherever your destination is and in between.
I'm here with the lovely Lila Ontiveros. First of all, she created her own helicopter hog hunting business.
My first hog hunt is going to be out of a helicopter, and I don't think it can get much better than that.
Damn, girl, you're a good shot.